Hi, I'm Ms. Cho, and today we're going to solve systems of equations word problems using PACE strategy. First, let's review PACE. So PACE stands for Preview, Annotate, Computation, and Examine. When you are previewing, you're looking for the purpose. What are you being asked to do? This is what is the question. When you're annotating, you're underlining, you're circling, you're boxing numbers, equations, key information that will help you solve this problem. In the computation part, this is where you actually do the math. You're answering two questions. One, what is given, and two, what is unknown. And then the last part, the examine, this is where you check your work and see if your answer makes sense. Let's take a look at this in the context of a word problem. Victoria has $1.90 in nickels and dimes. She has two more nickels than dimes. How many nickels does she have? How many dimes? So the first time around in the preview, I've been looking for the question. So I'm going to find the question marks and I'm going to underline the questions. How many nickels and how many dimes? So this tells me I'm looking for the number of nickels and I'm looking for the number of dimes. The second time I'm going to reread this and I'm going to underline or circle key information. So I see this $1.90 and it's in nickels and dimes. And then I see that she has two more nickels than dimes. So then now that I've annotated, I can start to answer the questions of what is given and what is unknown. So first I'm going to define my variables. I'm going to let n be my number of nickels, and I'm going to let d be my number of dimes. Next, I'm going to write the system of equations. My first equation is going to be on the value of the coins, and my second is going to be on the number. So I see in the first sentence that Victoria has $1.90 in nickels and dimes. So she has some number of nickels and some number of dimes, and they're worth $1.90. I know that nickels are worth 5 cents, and I know that dimes are 10 cents. So if I have 5 cents times the number of nickels and 10 cents times the number of dimes, that should give me $1.90. My second equation has to do with the second sentence. She has two more nickels than dimes. That tells me that the number of nickels she has is equal to the number of dimes plus 2. Now, since I have a system of equations, I can use substitution or elimination to solve for my first variable, and then I'm going to take the answer to that, substitute, and solve for my second variable. I'm going to rewrite this so I have more room. So I see that this system, we already have one variable solved for by itself. So that tells me that substitution is going to be a better strategy here. I'm going to take this n, this d plus 2, and I'm going to substitute it in the first equation where I see an n. Now I'm going to rewrite the first equation, but in place of n, I'm going to open up a parentheses and write d plus 2 plus 0.1 times d is equal to 190. Then I'm going to use the distributive property. So that gives me 0.05d plus 0.10 plus 0.10d is equal to 190. I have my like terms here, and so if I add them together, that's 0.15d plus 0.1 is equal to 190. And then I'm going to subtract the 10 cents from each side. And that gives me 0.15d is equal to $1.80. If I divide both sides by 0.15, that gives me d is equal to 12. Now, since I have d is equal to 12, I can go back in and substitute in my second equation here because I think it's just more convenient. So I'm going to solve for my number of nickels. So n is equal to d plus 2, which is equal to 12 plus 2, which is equal to 14. So now I have 14 nickels and 12 dimes. That's compute. Now I have to examine and check if my answer is correct. So the way I'm going to do that is open up a t-chart. I'm going to write both equations on the tops, and then I'm going to substitute in each value to make to check and see if the equations are true. So 0.5 times 14 nickels plus 0.1 times 12 dimes, and I want to know if that's equal to $1.90. 0.05 times 14 is 0.7. 0.1 times 12 is 120. And I want to know if that is equal to 190. So 70 cents plus $1.20 is 190. So this equation checks out. The second equation, n is equal to d plus 2. I'm going to rewrite my n is 14, my d is 12, and I want to know if 14 is equal to 12 plus 2. 12 plus 2 is 14. So this checks out, and my solution is correct. To recap, when you're solving a system of equations word problem, you're going to use the PACE strategy. Then you're going to define your variables. You're going to write your system of equations. Then you use substitution or elimination to solve for your first variable. Once you found your first variable, you're going to solve for your second variable, and then you go back and check your answer.